y'all, it is the Southern Belle from Hell here, and welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. I hope you guys have been having a good week, and I hope that you enjoy this video. I have really been into the whole cottage feel here lately. I don't know if it's because of the new pack that's coming out in July. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait for fairies. There's rumors that there may not be a lot of emphasis on fairies. If so, I'm gonna be very upset, because I think I can speak for the whole Sims community when I say we want fairies. Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of gnome stuff, so I wanted to kind of do a build where I have a lot of gnomes and kind of make an eccentric cottage that has an eco lifestyle type of sim living in it. You know, kind of hippie, kind of new age, but still very much living in this country lifestyle. So we're in Hemford-on-Bagley, and I'm only using 2 packs in this build. I'm using Eco Lifestyle and Cottage Living, and that is it. No other kits, just these 2. So yeah, if you want to download this from the gallery, just check out my EAID, below. And yeah, so let's get into this build. This is a long build. I haven't done a video like this in quite a while, and we're just going to talk about it. I found this image on Pinterest that is in the right hand corner, and I just fell in love with it. I liked that it looked a little like all over the place and kind of messy, kind of scattered, and very cozy. I loved that, and I said, you know what, I want to replicate that and kind of challenge myself to just use 2 packs to accomplish this look. And let me know how you think I did. It's so freaking cute. If you want to get a closer look at this, I'm listing the link where I found it on Pinterest. Pinterest has so many great ideas. I have really been getting inspired by Pinterest here lately, because there's just so much beautiful stuff on there. And sometimes they're more creative than me. I'll just say it. But I noticed this house had kind of an orange roof, and even though we have some slated roofs in the Life and Death pack that would have gone so much better, I'm sticking to Eco Lifestyle and Cottage Living. Yeah, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was a challenge, but I enjoyed just having that content to look at. That was refreshing. Like, I found some objects and I'm like, yeah, I forgot we got that with that pack. So that part was kind of fun. You're gonna see me jumping around a lot because I really wanted to make the landscape make sense with the kind of personality that I'm getting from this house. I wanted it to be kind of everywhere, and you know, cottage core meets a little bit of technology, you know, enough to sustain these Sims, to not have to rely on, you know, electricity, any type of extra stuff. I noticed that the roof of this house had a lot of chimneys and a lot of craziness going on. So this house does have 3 fireplaces inside, but there are 4 chimneys that you can actually see. I wanted to keep that cluttered look like in the picture, because it just seems like there's so much personality going on, and I wanted to keep this what do you call it, this chimney from the outside, you know, kind of old school, not something that's inside the house. You know what I'm talking about, you know, and if you don't, well, then you're right here with me, confused, just so confused. Anywho, so I am trying to match the outside of this house with the image, and I just had a lot of fun with different windows from Cottage Living. So much from the Eco Lifestyle is very modern and very industrial, so I use mainly cottage living in this entire build. Most of the stuff from Eco Lifestyle that I use is, stuff that you have your Sims do as like a skill. I do add a few furniture pieces, the stuff that looks more homemade and not so industrial. And you'll see what I mean when I start decorating and start cluttering things about. It's very difficult to find something that just looks very homey because that pack is so technical, and cottage living is very homey. So marrying these two packs, it was fun, but it definitely was different to kind of branch out and be like, okay, how can I marry these two together? And I kind of did. I mean, it was more cottage living, which it is my favorite pack. Life and Death is a very close second, but Cottage Living is by far my favorite. It lets me live out my farming fantasies without actually having to farm, so it's perfect. So I wanted this house to be not exactly small, but not open concept. Like, whenever you go in an old house, you kind of notice how the rooms seem to kind of like bleed into each other. And there's, a couple of big rooms, but a lot of them, it's like a big circle that eventually connects, a lot of connecting doors. So I tried to emulate that style throughout this entire build and the layout of the house. I'm picturing a family, like a middle-aged couple that has a teenage daughter, and they're just, like they're a kooky couple. They got a lot going on outside. They don't really have like a job. They just make things, collect things, sell things. And I imagine that their daughter is super creative too. I'm imagining just like this teenage girl that loves being out here in the country and, maybe has dreams of, starting a small business, maybe being a cook. She's been around all of this gardening and, basically using these materials to, sustain yourself and live completely healthy. So in my mind, I picture this teenage girl, having dreams of turning all of these hobbies that her parents have monetized into a small business and actually have like a W-2 form, coming. I wanted to make kind of random spots for different things you can do with the Cottage Living pack. So here I have a chicken coop, making sure the chickens don't get out, and it's kind of a weird shape, like a diamond shape. And I love the way this came out. I used a lot of the debug fences that just blended in seamlessly with the fences that we already had, but didn't have to do it in just like a boring old square. I wanted to have either a cow or a llama. Llamas are super fun. I've only had a llama once, and yeah, we made a lot of crap with that wool, but cows are just, they're so cute in the game. They're freaking adorable. So if you download this, I do put a couple of things like a milk pail about, but yeah, if you want to throw a llama in there, why not? I do have this area like pretty spread out. Really, I could have fit in another shed, but I was like, I kind of want to have it a little bit wide open. But yeah, if you download it and change some things, I'd love to see some screenshots. I add a bunch of little things around from the Eco Lifestyle pack. You see where they can collect water, they can recycle their trash, they can harvest bugs, they can make crap out of their bugs. They are self-sustaining people. And this huge freaking tree that I got in the debug menu, I just thought, wouldn't it be perfect to have these lights coming down off of it, and everyone's sitting around the grill, and I put a little rug down from Eco Lifestyle, the one that you can like fabricate, and that's kind of like their picnic blanket out there, and they just have a grand old time just living La Vida Loca over here in Hemford on Bagley. So I use 2 of these lights. This is such a big tree. I was like, ooh, I could use 2 of these. So I just kind of put it all around the front, you know, make it all nice, make it all cozy looking. And now I'm starting to put the plants down. There are so many plants that I wanted to use because in the picture, it just looks like a lot of growth, a lot of overgrown plants that it just fits the vibe so well. So I used a ton of ivy. I didn't want to have it like creeping all the way up the house because there wasn't a lot of that in the picture, but a bunch of shrubbery and a bunch of just like random color plants that just look natural. Like they're, you know, just growing there on their own. And I wanted to make sure almost all the windows had flower boxes that are different colors because these parents are eccentric. They're gonna find one color to be boring. So I'm kind of just scattering that about and making sure like we've got some differentiation going on. I found this random plant holder in the debug menu and was like, yeah, I gotta throw that up there. Here's a light that is also debugged that I just felt like fit in just a tad bit better. And really to help me out more than anything before I start putting all of these shrubs and plants down, I go ahead and put some garden lights on. And to just like kind of help me map out where I want it to stop. And now I'm just throwing everything out there, everything that I want to use that looks like it fits the assignment. So right now we're just putting some shrubbery, enough that kind of looks like it is blending from the landscape to the actual house. I wanted to make it look as natural but messy as possible. So I throw around these like snail bushes, I think that's what they're called in the menu. This overgrown shrubbery that, you know, has that lighter green color like the grass, some azaleas here and there, and there's a bunch of wildflowers that comes with cottage living and eco lifestyle. And honestly, I just use them all. They were so freaking pretty. And these lavender bushes, I was like, yeah, let's add some hints of purple. We don't have purple, let's throw that in there. Just make it look like Mother Nature vomited all over this yard. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I didn't want this yard to look really kept up because, you know, the picture, it doesn't look like it is a yard that is mowed often. So we've got some grass growth, we've got some big old like weed bushes. This family doesn't like, they don't want to mess with nature too much. They want to nurture nature. So they're not very concerned with keeping their yard absolutely spotless. That, you know, they know they're not going to be in better homes and gardens. This is how they want to live. Okay, let them live this way. But I enjoyed it so much. It felt kind of like if the Weasleys were muggles. That's kind of what I pictured these parents to be like. Randomly, I just said, let's throw a pond in here. These people, they live off the land. Why not have a little pond? I wasn't planning on it beforehand. And I said, you know what? We've got room for a little fishing spot. So I put a little spot down and I add like some tadpoles. I add some lightning bugs and some mallards, you know, a little bit of wildlife here and there. And I just kind of thought that this was perfect. It kind of just looks like it fits in now with this little space we got going on. And now I'm kind of at this point where I've got all of these objects from eco lifestyle, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where to put them. I wanted a lot of stuff to be outside because I pictured this couple with their daughter just very outside people. They're not really inside very often. And yeah, I randomly just throw gnomes everywhere. So I'm just kind of cluttering this porch, trying to make all of their hobbies make sense, and also making sure these plants are firmly in the ground because I did make the terrain a little slopey. Not extremely, but you know, enough to where I did have to lay down like a lot of plants using the tool mod. But yeah, now I'm just cluttering it up. I'm trying to make it look busy. Like these people, they have green thumbs. They make everything by hand, or just about everything. You know, everything that they can, they've got it going on. And I put this chair from Eco Lifestyle down because it just looks perfect. It kind of fits in with the aesthetic I am trying to shoot for. I even put the little fizz machine out here, like, you know, it's kind of like the Sims version of moonshine, but it's fizz. And yeah, we got that working out there. This family are some fizz makers. And I wanted to make sure I put up a lot of evidence that they are very much involved in Henford-on-Bagley's activities and events. You know, so you'll see a bunch of banners all over the house that they have participated in, or that they've won stuff from. Like, I just see this family as very quirky, very wholesome, very involved, very, you know, oh, Henford-on-Bagley, hell yeah. That's how I see these people. I haven't made this family yet, but if I do, they're going to be the Muggle version of the Weasleys, because that's what I have in my mind. And that's the only kind of family I can see in this house. So right now I'm trying to decide on the decor, because I wanted to keep it still looking like a cottage and still have it look very cozy and warm and comforting. And just random rooms are going to have different pieces where, you know, they make things by hand, and it's going to be a little technical. I kept thinking of like my grandmother's bathroom when it came to these tiles, and that's why I use these tiles so much in houses that aren't as modern, because it reminds me of my grandmother's tiles in her bathroom. Right now there's really not that many light options, you know. Cottage Living has a few cute ones. Eco Lifestyle, not so much. There's not a whole lot of pretty lights that come with that pack. So again, I'm mostly relying on Cottage Living and a little bit from Base Game. And I try to just make it look very old and antique-y, just like the rest of the house. And I just really thought that this house kind of married that quirkiness really well together. You can tell that there's a lot going on. I kind of wanted to make them seem like hippies. So now we are decorating the entryway to the house, and I try to add a bunch of different colors. You know, still earthy, but just random shots of color here, there, and yonder, mostly yonder. I wanted to clutter most areas up. You know, these people, they know a lot about their craft. So we're going to have books. We're going to have different objects that perhaps that they've made or that they've bought in Henford-on-Bagley. And a bunch of plants. These people love to garden. They live for it. And of course, these banners. They are all about them some Henford-on-Bagley activities. Now this quilt stand that comes with Base Game, I use it so much in my cozy builds because I want a quilt stand like this. I really do. But like big fluffy blankets. These look like little tiny blankets that, you know, will barely cover my feet. But anyways, I digress. It's still very cozy little piece of decor there. Now the living room is not very big. I do not imagine this family spending a large amount of time in this living room. I picture them more as like kitchen and go outside. Like that is what they spend their time doing. That is how they bond. I don't really see them as people that are like, hey, let's watch a movie tonight. I don't use really any of the modern looking TVs, just the TV from Eco Lifestyle. And let's see, I think I have 2 of these in the house. And it's just for the pure reason that I just don't see this family watching much TV. They have it if they need it, if they need to watch the news or something like that. But other than that, nah, there's just no point. And all of the computers, I tried to find like the oldest looking computers. We have a typewriter type of computer over here. And I use another one that looks like it is, straight from the 90s. In their little office room that's going to be upstairs. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of technology in this home. They're very conservative with any technology use. I was thinking about having them do like off the grid, but honestly, I hate doing off the grid. Like, I've tried to do off the grid and it's fun for like an hour. Then after that, it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. So this is not an off the grid lot. Simple living, yeah, but no, off the grid, that is just, my poor Sims just be suffering. I try to use as many wholesome looking decorations as possible, which is so easy with the Cottage Living Pack. However, eco lifestyle, there are some like industrial styles thrown in here and there. I tried to use the industrial styles that look homemade, like it's something that this family could have made. I decided to put up around this little study area a bunch of postcards. Like, this family has traveled, they have seen a lot, they've probably done a lot of trading, maybe buying different animals, trading different animals and crops and things like that, just to add a little element that this family is outdoorsy and adventurous rather than staying inside. And now we're on to the kitchen, and I wanted to get kind of creative with this kitchen. I wanted to use the greenish teal swatches that I hardly ever get to use from the Cottage Living Pack, because I just think it's such a rich color that they have in this game. So I try to make it work. There's not really like a wall covering that matches this teal completely, so I just kind of stick with this, and not all the shelves are this shade either. So we're kind of just marrying this like natural grassy green color with this teal, and I still feel like it came out pretty sweet looking, pretty cozy. I tried to make this kitchen look big enough for this family, but also, very, what's the word? Quaint, very quaint. There we go. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words. As I am watching myself build, I go, oh my goodness, did I do all this? And yes, I did. Many hours. Took me about 7 hours to build this house, to clutter up everything outside and inside. So yeah, it was quite an intense build. I'm throwing around a bunch of different clutter pieces that are different colors, again, just to kind of add that eccentricity to this family. They got a lot going on, a lot happening, a lot of different styles, but they're still, kind of stuck in this cozy live off the land type of vibe. I try to use as many pieces from Cottage Living as possible, because we get so many clutter items, especially for your kitchen, in this pack, not so much from Eco Lifestyle. So I'm trying to use all of that in one go in this kitchen. I sized down a lot of these little tiny sculptures just because I feel like it fits in so well with this kitchen, and just kind of add little trinkets, little souvenirs that maybe they've gotten or they've made themselves. I try to make this kitchen look very like clean, like this is the spot where this family likes to come and gather before they go on with their chores, and full of food, a lot of family vibes happening here. Like, I bet their Harvest Fest is freaking awesome. That's all I can think about, really. Like, I bet if I played in this house, which I might, I really enjoy this house, holidays are going to be off the chain. I mean, this family is just going to have so much good food. here I am just putting down like a little bit of decor, like with the curtains and, you know, some rugs here and there. And I realized that the curtains cover up a lot of the utensils that are hanging down from the shelf. So I'm moving around the shelf using the tool mod and just trying to make it still stick out and not get covered up, because that was why I put that shelf there. So, you know, while they're cooking or whatever, they have their supplies right there. To me, it makes sense. Also with the tool mod, I decided to put a little bit of decor on that refrigerator door. I just felt like that was perfect for this type of build. And now we are moving on to the hallway that leads to the back door and also to this dining area, the formal dining area. I wanted to make this hallway look really cluttered and have some gardening stuff, like stuff that they, you know, kind of take with them before they go outside. And this dining room, I pictured this big circular table that is going to be where they celebrate Winterfest, Harvest Fest, all that good stuff. And of course, while I'm looking, I find stuff that I'm like, this would be much better in another room of the house. I put a festive little banquet table down, and you know, I still want to have plants in just about every room of the house. So I'll make sure to put that down. And here's a little hint of modern from, I believe that is from Eco Lifestyle. Could be from Base Game, but the leaf wall decor, I freaking love it. But I hardly ever use it because it doesn't always fit in with what I'm doing. Here is like the downstairs bathroom, just like super convenient, has everything you need to get yourself situated right here. And I love the pink tiles that are in this game. I'm not a big pink lover, but the soft pink swatches in this game, it just fits with the cozy vibes. I freaking love it, man. So let's move on to the upstairs. We've got this landing here. And if you've watched any of my other build videos where I'm talking about a landing, I freaking hate decorating landings. If y'all hear a cat, that is Kiwi. She likes to make appearances now and again. If you do not, then it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I hate decorating landings because I'm always like, oh, what do you put here? What do you put? Because anytime I've lived in a second story house, okay, Kiwi, Mama is coming. I don't really put anything there. I don't really decorate it too much. But I do make sure to put like a little sitting area. I've got this awesome fabricated shelf. I love that shelf, and I hardly ever use it. So that's one of the perks of limiting yourself to just using like a couple of packs. You realize that, hey, like this pack comes with this, and it's super awesome. I just throw around a bunch of different art here. You know, again, this family's got a lot of different styles happening. We got our bookshelf. We've got a little spot where we could read, cozy little rug. And now we have the teenage daughter's room. I am picturing her like a very bright, bubbly, enthusiastic type of chick that loves nature. She's so proud of her parents, and she also wants to do what they're doing but market it. So we have like a bunch of cute little decor pieces, but I also give her, you know, some more creative activities that she can do, like painting. I put a camera up. Maybe she's into photography as well. Here's her fabricated dresser. And yeah, I try to like sprinkle in a couple of the fabricated pieces that she can make with the Eco Lifestyle pack. It is difficult. It's difficult to marry these two packs, but I kind of love it. It does add this quirkiness to your builds. And I hardly ever use the fabricated objects. It's like a rarity. So this gave me a good chance to do that. Her room is very oddly shaped. I am guessing that her parents, absolutely are obsessed with their daughter. They are so proud of her. And I was thinking maybe this used to be their room. And after they had their daughter, oh Lord, my brain. They're like, you know what? She needs a bigger room to, you know, do her hobbies, have her own space. And they moved into a smaller bedroom. I know, I've heard some parents do that though. And that's what I'm picturing. They gave her the bigger bedroom and they took the smaller one. Technically, this house can be 3-bedroom, but I turn one of the rooms into a candle making / office area. Now we are on the parents' room. So I just put all sorts of decor pieces, and I'm sorry if the screen is kind of jumping around. I guess because of all of the fireplaces I have up here, like the camera just would not stay still. It just kept hopping up and down. It was annoying the crap out of me. So my bad. I'm so sorry if it bothers you. But I also try to give them kind of like this artsy feel, a bunch of greenery, some different crafts hanging about. And I just really like the way their room turned out. I just felt like it looked like it had a lot of personality that kind of fit in with the type of people that I imagine live in this house. I also think of them as like, you know, they do a little bit of woodworking. So I do throw around like some of those little statues you get from the woodworking table so that they can, you know, work on that handiness skill. That's just something that I always forget when I do these kinds of builds, to make sure that these people are handy. You know, I always make sure that they've got gardening, that they've got cooking, all of that stuff, but I always forget about handiness. I mean, if you're gonna live off the land, you're gonna know how to fix things, right? But this room, I just felt like had a lot of personality for these parents, a little bit more grown up, but you know, evidence that they do this kind of stuff together. It's just like really sweet and cozy. And I tried to give like every bedroom their own bathroom. It would just be nice, you know. I think in most houses we would all prefer our own bathroom. So in their bathroom, and really all the bathrooms, it's pretty snug, but I try to make it like the right size for everyone. And I have this bathroom that is off the side of this little office area. It could be a small bedroom, but I turned it into their office area where you can also make candles. And I tried to make it look, you know, just really like focused on this type of skill and have hints of their personality. You know, some notebooks down on the floor, keeping up with maybe like their sales, and you know, whenever they go and like sell stuff in the town center, just, you know, like I just like this idea I have of this family. If I make a sim for this house, I don't know, I think I might even like make a series or something. I'm getting so excited. But here's the parents' bathroom, and it is very snug, but like really quaint, and you know, just kind of like using soft colors. And I thought about it. I was like, we have that cool little room divider, that one panel room divider that comes with the Eco Lifestyle pack. And I went, that would be friggin' perfect to be in this bathroom. So I just slide it in there, kind of give, you know, the person on the toilet a little separation from the rest of the room. The office has like a snug little bathroom, but I thought this bathroom was really cute and kind of just looks like it was added on later on in life. I do end up adding a mirror kind of like to one of the other walls, since you don't have a mirror right in front of you at the sink. And to me, that like I hated that, but I also like the idea of a sink overlooking this window. It's just freaking precious. And last but not least, we have the teenage girl's bathroom, and I just kind of keep it simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Stay tuned for the screenshots and a nice little tour. And until next time, guys, have a good one.